Before I begin, however, I would like to thank the panel of judges for being here today, and also for my tutor, Ms. Tara, for making this happen. So, in my thesis, The Negative Impacts of the Reproductive Health Act, I discussed the repercussions and effects of the Reproductive Health Act. This act, which was enforced in New York, is the first of its kind in the United States. Not only is abortion now legal up until the point of birth, but unqualified healthcare practitioners are allowed to operate on pregnant women. My thesis statement is the Reproductive Health Act is not beneficial to pregnant women and infants. In the beginning pages of my thesis, I analyze and go through the Reproductive Health Act and what it is, and how it differs from New York's former public health laws concerning abortion. Next, I define abortion and give a brief description of how abortion procedures are performed. It is important to realize that abortion is not a simple surgery. It is a life-changing operation that dramatically alters the lives of anyone who is involved. The common causes and statistics of why women obtain abortions is also touched upon in the introductory portion of my thesis. I believe that the three proofs that I chose to defend my thesis statement delivered significant evidence and thoughtful insight. The first proof, abortion causes long-term mental health issues, tackles the mental trauma caused by abortion. The second proof, unqualified healthcare practitioners can administer abortions, discusses how dangerous it could be for women to get an abortion. Finally, the third proof, abortion is taken out of the criminal code, eliminates the protection of born-alive babies from botched abortions. Each proof speaks for itself and defends my claim that the Reproductive Health Act is not beneficial to pregnant women and infants. After my three proofs, I refute a common counterclaim of my thesis statement, that abortion can be medically necessary. One of the reasons the Reproductive Health Act is so revolutionary is because people believe abortion can be medically necessary in late-term pregnancies. According to countless qualified healthcare practitioners, however, abortion is never medically necessary, and an abortion procedure can even be worse for a woman whose health is in crisis. The purpose of my thesis was to provide substantial proof as to why the Reproductive Health Act is not an empowering advancement for women in society, but rather it is a dangerous and even destructive act that demolishes life and safety. It is hard to realize that the world we live in perceives life as so invaluable that it is celebrated when we easily dispose of it due to the fact that it is an inconvenience to many. The Reproductive Health Act of New York dehumanizes infants and encourages their pregnant women to get an abortion if the unborn baby is an inconvenient problem. The act also puts women at risk mentally and physically. It is amazing to me that crushing the skull of a defenseless and developed baby is deemed as women's health care. The Reproductive Health Act was not a solution to the problem, it is the problem. Thank you.
Good, really great opening of saying exactly what you laid out as far as your three proofs, and the outline of your paper is exactly what you said. So I think it was really well done to start. And I think just reading through something like this, obviously abortion is a very contentious and emotionally charged issue. But I think as far as your opening paragraph, you really did a great job of framing the issue outside of that emotional state of it, and used very clear example of the situation to kind of level set, and it really, I think, pulled me into the topic before I even really got into it, so it's a good start.
So, thank you.
So I agree, and I push from the other side to compliment you further, and that is it evokes emotion. When you talk about a 9/11 memorial being lit for the first time for abortion, that, at least for me, that evokes deep emotion. And I love that you started with it. I love that you ended with it. So you came full circle 40 pages later, back
far as, one of the main points, I wrote a note here on the first page where you talk about 3 points: long-term mental health issues, unqualified healthcare practitioners, and then the criminal code. In your research, so unqualified health practitioner is kind of a muddy term, right? You tried to define it as far as the dictionary and how the healthcare profession defines it, but what percentage, or is there any data that you found that would kind of qualify or quantify what that term really is? Like, how do we think about unqualified healthcare professionals, and what are the statistics and data that would kind of support that?
Right, so concerning abortion, it is definitely hard to research to see how many people actually get into the position of an abortionist who have been through what they need to be qualified for that. And it's a very small number of people who are abortionists, but I think what I just wanted to pinpoint was just that it's allowed that you can be any healthcare practitioner, and I think that's just saying something, because women are in such a fragile state when they're pregnant, and they're gonna be trying to go to anyone to fix their problem if they're gonna get an abortion. And I think it would be really easy if they knew someone, or someone was offering a cheaper price somewhere to get an abortion than to go to a certified abortionist, which is off topic about what qualifies a healthcare practitioner. But it's definitely a muddy term, and I think that's why I wanted to bring it up, because anyone can do it now. So I think that's really scary.
I want to tag on to what you're saying. I agree. So I would also like to see a little bit more research when you talked about the unqualified providers. Did you see in any of your research like cases where abortions were done by unqualified providers? Because I mean, I realize that like dentists and social workers all qualify as healthcare providers, but it just is mind blowing to me that a dentist would be allowed to do that. And so many times, like, we need referrals to see other physicians for certain things, and like a pregnant woman doesn't need to have a referral to see. So when I'm saying that, I thought it would have been really good if you could have interviewed like an OBGYN, because you listed some numbers in there about like their training and excuse me, how they're not trained on abortions, and just getting maybe like a general practitioner's, like what did they learn in medical school, and then maybe getting like, again, I like personal examples, so getting personal interviews from a real OBGYN and a general practitioner to find out like what, like from a real person, not just from a source. So, but did you find any for unqualified practitioners did the abortions?
Right, so there was a lot of older cases for sure of people who would do abortions who definitely weren't qualified, and that would go under like illegal abortions basically. So I didn't bring any of those in because they were older, and a lot of the research I've done, a lot of that is kind of kept hidden, especially like in clinics like Planned Parenthood, which I didn't talk about in my paper, but if they do hire someone, there's not, a lot of times it's kind of sneaky and muddy, and they do it for the money, and then it's kept hidden. So, I mean, I don't think, I couldn't find anything in New York about unqualified healthcare practitioners. I just wanted to touch upon how that's just kind of insane that they would even make that a thing.
The testimony that you provide from Brewer and Latino and others is compelling, just so compelling and strong. Was there one particular source testimony that you found to be more compelling that really kind of stopped you?
I definitely would say all the sources I found, all the previous abortionists and doctors, just them saying that abortion makes no sense. Like, that's crazy to me, that all these other OBGYNs are claiming that it does make sense and it is medically necessary. So to hear someone who said, like, I've done 8,000 abortions in the past, like none of them were ever medically necessary, which just kind of blows my mind. So that's what really kept me going as I was like getting halfway through this, because it was a lot of work and a lot of information. I read that and was like, well, that's life changing. I feel like if anyone heard that now, it would just completely change the view of abortion. So.
What do you think people like Brewer would not be, why would we be hearing about that more and more in our society now?
I think it's definitely difficult because our society is really just driving towards everything feminist and your choice, your body. They don't want to hear anything else. I think an excellent example is the movie Unplanned, which was about a woman who used to work in an abortion clinic. And she's basically speaking out against abortion. But that didn't get shown in movie theaters. Well, it did, but it was like one day. There was no commercials. No one was allowed to publicize it. No one would take their movie. It's all the media. The media is not allowing anything else to challenge their views. So that's why I think it's not really out there.
So, obviously you had opinions of kind of this topic before you started your research, so I'm curious, were there any of your ideas or thoughts that were strengthened by your research that you had before?
Definitely. I think one of the hard things that I've always had a problem talking with people about is, what if like this happened to my sister and she was raped and she doesn't want to keep the baby. Like that is such a compelling case already. And I feel like that's such a difficult decision to make, but this made it seem like even more that life is just so important. And I don't think there's ever any justifiable reason to have an abortion. I mean, you're purposely ending life. Like I think what was most compelling for me is how people would say abortion is medically necessary. And then these doctors will just come in here and tell you that you never have to purposely end a child's life to save the mother. And that it's always, if the child does die, that's a miscarriage. If you're operating on the woman to save her life, you never have to purposely kill the child. So I think that really strengthens my view on this.
And was there anything on the contrary that you felt really, really strongly about that was maybe weakened or your three conclusions were challenged?
For me, I'm trying to think. I think it was difficult with the mental health portion because that's definitely a hard thing to prove if you have an abortion that you're going to have long-term mental health issues. So I'm getting a ton of information and statistics that it does prove that there is mental health problems. It's just, it makes it hard to believe when there's so many women speaking out and saying that I had my abortion and now I'm living my best life ever. So that was really difficult to read because like you're having all these people saying that their abortion saved their life and it's doing so great for them. And then the statistics saying that, okay, most of them are gonna have like alcohol abuse and are suicidal and just horrible. So I think it was definitely difficult for me to kind of put it in a box and understand if all women suffer from mental health issues after that, but I think it's definitely a traumatic thing enough that most of them would.
Sure.
So just to help me understand the question, if you don't mind, page 12, you talk about the Reproductive Health Act, and you say that it does not empower women by allowing them to choose to ignore their baby's existence. It's rejecting the unborn infant's right to life even after they are born. So my question is, just clarify for me if you don't mind, does the Reproductive Health Act allow for the baby to be terminated after it has left the mother's body?
So it does not say that it allows it, but there is absolutely no protection. So basically, if there's a botched abortion before, like I said in the Born Alive Act, you have to keep the baby, you have to save the baby. It's a human now that it's outside the womb. This act though completely removes that. So doctors, usually when they're delivering an abortion and if the baby somehow survives, it is so premature that it could survive with a lot of medical help, but it's also, you know, a liability. The abortion has failed, and so much could happen with that. So the easiest thing to do, honestly, would be to just let it die there on the table, which happens sadly a lot.
Or worse, what you said with the strangulation and
Yes.
finish the job.
Yes.
And that story was amazingly compelling,
Mm-hmm.
of the baby that lived. Anyway, I guess my point would be, there's no longer an argument that this is on behalf of the mother. Because the baby's not in the mother's body. So I struggle with how do you defend after a baby has left, even if abortion's been attempted. How do you say this is in the mother's interest? It has nothing to do with the mother at that point.
Right.
So I just wanted to understand that. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're defining abortion, you give the medical definition, you know, it's abortion results in the termination of the fetus, using the medical words, but I feel like you really pull at the reader when you start referring to the fetus as a baby and calling it what it is. Obviously this is something, excuse me, that you're really passionate about, so I wanted to ask you, did you ever think about how would you change someone's mind that was like considering an abortion, and what would you do, what would you propose to change this act if you were given that opportunity?
So when I talk to people about abortion, I think it's kind of a compelling argument on my side at least, is that, you know, my mom, who's over there, was really young when she got pregnant and wanted to have an abortion. So I'm getting choked up, I didn't mean to do this. But just that I'm still here is kind of amazing. So anyways, I'm just really passionate about it, so yeah. We're glad you're here. This is embarrassing. But what I want to do with when I'm older is work for a law firm that targets abortion clinics and be a public representative for them. So, yeah.
So kind of the facts in your writing are very clear, right? There's, you know, statistics we have very, not even graphic, but just kind of plain language description of what this is like. So what's your opinion of why you think that abortion is so widely accepted to the point that this act was so easily passed in New York?
I think it's the same thing with, it's so, everyone is so like, it's my body, it's my choice. That, and New York is extremely liberal. That's, I mean, of course, it's where the most abortions occur every year. So I think people often don't do their research on abortion. I mean, all the arguments I've had with people, they really don't know what it is. And I think because of that, I mean, it's so difficult because abortion is one of the most discussed about things in America. Yet no one really knows what actually goes on. And so that's another reason why I think that it was pushed so hard to get into New York, is because, you know, women just want to keep going with it's my body, my choice at any point. That means even after they have the baby, right up until the moment of birth. So I think it's just a very progressive new law that they made, or act, that basically just embodies women's choice. And yeah.
All right, so one technical question, if you don't mind. How does 4164, the repeal of 4164, actually reverse the Born Alive Act of 2002? That makes sense?
Yes. So, basically, from what I learned, I was very confused about that when I first read about it, because the Born Alive Act is an act for all of the U.S. I mean, it goes for every state, no matter what abortion laws they have. repeal of the 4164 law, basically, it somehow does not apply anymore, which I was trying to research. I'm like, how does act that protects everyone in the United States or botched abortions, how does that not apply anymore? And it's just, it's kind of an unsaid thing. Like, I was researching the woman who basically looked into the act and got it into public, Liz Kruger. She's the state senator. She was asked a question on why 4164 was repealed and how the Born Alive Act doesn't apply anymore. And she just straight up said it doesn't apply anymore. This is a new act that's taking over everything. And so basically that doesn't apply.
It's almost like a local act being repealed somehow, it takes care of the Born Alive Act, which is a federal law. So it's hard to understand why 4164, I mean, it's application. I think it's what you just said, that it's, this is what we do as standard of community.
Yeah,
It's really sad.
it's definitely crazy.
And there probably wasn't a lot of pushback from the community for them to even try to argue that this is in existence, but if you have a federal law that says otherwise, I don't know, I don't feel like it was dropped the light. Or most people probably don't know about it. There was,
I wonder if has it ever been brought, do we know, before the New York Supreme Court? Because they reflect.
Not that I know of. I looked it up, so the law firm that I want to work for, American Center for Law and Justice, they have not, of course, this is one of the main issues they're talking about and trying to go to court with. There have been attempts, there have been hearings, but there's not been anything big. But for sure, New York definitely did not have a lot of pushback at all. Everyone was just gung-ho. I mean, they lit up the 9/11 memorial, so obviously most people were on board with it.
Kyle, I think you did a tremendous job, like I said, from the beginning, taking a very contentious and emotionally charged topic, and you did a great job in that it elicits emotion in your paper, but it wasn't overly emotionally written. And I think that's, whether that was your intention or not, that was definitely something.
And again, as with Abigail, this will not be an easy stance to take as you move forward. I mean, even though you're strong here, we love you, and everybody's around you to support you, this will be a hard stance. So if you're going to change the world, you have to be convicted beyond reproach. And so I'm excited for you. Thank you, because, wow. You listen to your emotion for me.
I thought you did a wonderful job. I have a few minor areas that you could grow on, but I'll tell you about those later. But I thought it was all very well written. You had great points. I think you definitely strike the emotion of the reader, and I thought it was good. Thank you.
I would love to get a picture of all the judges and the students together if we could, and I just want to thank you. Every one of the judges